Welcome to our CES 2022 experience. And it's actually pretty extraordinary being here because 2 years ago, I don't know if you recall, but we had the opportunity to present our vision at the Techstars startup stage.
That's right. Actually, right over like a couple booths down.
Yeah, here in Europe Park. So it's been actually pretty fascinating to see that 2 years ago, we pitched this vision of experiential audio, right?
Yeah.
So what is experiential audio?
Well, experiential audio is a way to amplify the way that you interact with sound. So instead of using just your ears, you can actually use your whole body as a sensation method to be able to perceive whatever is originally happening on a movie, on music, in a video game, or even in some sort of entertainment thing, like if you're going and watch a movie in theater, if you're watching a theatrical thing, or even in sports games.
Yep. So the important thing we wanted to do is that 2 years ago, we talked about this concept, experiential audio.
It was just a concept. It was
just a concept. Yeah. You know, you're theorizing through your dissertation, PhD. And over 2 years, we got an amazing team together, amazing startup. And we took that idea and we made it into our very first commercially viable product, which we call the Resin X.
That's right.
And this device, specifically curated for gamers and audio engineers, is an amazing combination of all the ways we can use our technology for a consumer by being able to attach this to the back of a chair, and it actually turns the chair itself into that sound experience. But here at CES, we wanted to take it, one stage further. We wanted to really prove to the world that this is our proof of concept that we can make this technology work. But making a technology work is not enough for us. We wanted to validate and show that we can actually establish the next standard in audio. And that next standard in audio requires us to actually immerse the real world and pre-embed it with this technology we call experiential audio. So when it comes to this booth experience, we wanted to really show that while we can create consumer products, what we really want to be able to do is reimagine how you experience stuff in venues such as sporting stadiums or movie theaters or automotive. Yeah. So what did we decide to do here?
So we took that challenge and said, well, what does that look like? What is an example of what that looks like in the real world? And every time you go to a venue or you go to something, you always have to be in seats.
Yep.
And so that's where we're like, okay, we'll start there. We'll start at seated entertainment and give everybody a taste of it, because that's probably the best way to have as many people as possible try and learn about this technology.
Exactly.
In the quickest form factor. So all around us, you actually see this is an embedded audio system that we have embedded with our experiential audio product for B2B. And what that does is that it enables these benches, which are beautifully handcrafted by our own Vincent Zhang, shout out, to be able to become the most perfect, not just looking, but also sounding sound devices.
Yep.
And that means that each one has just one of these modules, and we've programmed them one to be right surround and left surround. And we also embedded the subwoofer signal, the LFO signal from a 5.1 system into these benches, which means that we actually get a full surround sound experience that comes from the front from our soundbar and the rear coming from the bottom and around us and through our bodies. And we get this kind of new format of 5.1.
Yeah, I mean, we like to call it, not your dad's 5.1, because it's pretty surprising. Because the reason why we really wanted to establish this new format audio technology is audio hasn't changed in over 3 decades. The last standard in audio was your 5.1 surround. Of course, we've seen software increases and things
DSP.
like Dolby Atmos, DSP, all that. Fantastic, but the same format, same directional audio playing.
Right.
That's existed forever, and for us, that's not enough. There's so much more that can be out of different experiences you can have.
Right.
And you can have such a more personal touch and personal experience that makes you, when you're watching a baseball game, for example, actually feel like you're in the dugout with the players. Or if you're listening to a live performance, feel you're actually a one-on-one experience.
Or on
with
the
that
stage,
performance.
on the stage with the performance. Yeah, it's funny because you would think that hard of hearing people have less of a connection to music and sound, but it's funny because when you get that physical sensation of it, you have a much more visceral. It's just like being back in the womb. You have this very intimate, visceral feeling and connection with the source signal, and I feel like that's something that we've been able to achieve with our experiential audio technology with our small consumer setup. But then even more so, it's unlocked or unleashed in this business setting where we can have this sensation that many consumers can come and try it when they come to the sporting arena or they come to the seated venue and be able to experience it and get that kind of intimate relationship, no matter where they are, up front or all the way up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah, and I think that's so fascinating because for us, this is only the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, we're only getting started.
Yeah.
Last 2 years has been to validate and prove that this technology even works.
Yeah.
And what does that look like as a standard in audio? Because devices like this, we can now transform physical objects into that sound experience. So wherever you're going is already pre-embedded with sound experiences, such as this table right here, right?
Yeah.
This is a great concept for us. Once again, designed by Vincent.
Absolutely.
And
big shout out Vincent Zhang.
And the whole concept here is that we wanted to design a easy way for you to understand what our technology is. We did this in the summer as we presented your dissertation project with Aurora.
Yeah.
And what this allows you to do is visually see on the surface of the water the frequency ranges that you're actually feeling throughout your body.
Yeah. And what we're talking about when we're talking about the experience of those micro vibrations. It's not just those big heavy sounds, but it's every vibration and every sound in between, from the biggest of the biggest to even the middle or the vocal range and stuff. All of that is physical. And it's hard to understand what that is. And so Vincent did a great job in making sure that we can visually represent what it means to see and feel, hear and feel vibrations at the same time. And so whenever you see these little tiny ripples, that's a higher frequency that otherwise you wouldn't be able to feel or hear. And the big, of course, big vibrations are those big, heavy bumps. And then the crazy part is that you can see when they mix together, that's a complexity of experiential audio. It's not just feeling, it's not just hearing, it's both of them together, creating that 100% high fidelity hearing and feeling at the same time.
And let's talk a little bit about what this format actually allows us to do in the future, right? This is way out there. This is the stuff we're going to try to be able to do. But the reality is, like, when you're outside, right, and a car drives by.
Yep.
You see the car drive by.
That's true.
You hear the car drive by in a chaotic fashion, so you hear the sound kind of all over the place.
That's right.
And you also feel the car drive by because of the vibration of that vehicle, the motor,
of course,
and all these kinds of things.
Right. That's reality.
That's reality, right? Our ultimate goal at the end of the day is to make the real more real.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy, but it is possible because the way we've been absorbed into sound technology has been that this is the best way to do it, but there's that realism factor that's missing out due to the multi-senses, multi-modality that you can have directly in that. But what does that allow us to do in things like a virtual landscape, right? We have a lot of conversation about the metaverse. Nobody knows what that is yet. No idea what it is.
It's weird. Every company seems to have some idea of what the metaverse is.
Everybody thinks they know what it is, but at the end of the day, right now, it's a lot of visual conversations about it.
Right, absolutely.
So what is something that this technology, at the core essence, as we keep further and further, might allow us to do in something like a metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, you speak to that core point of it. No matter how many speakers you add, speakers have always been designed for one thing only, which is throwing sound at somebody.
Yeah.
They're great, and that our ears are designed to be really sensitive towards sound. But like you mentioned, if a car passes by, you're not just hearing it, you're also feeling it. There's a sense of emanation of energy that happens and that your body perceives it as well. And that's something that is existent of everybody. Even you and I talking has a sense of physical vibration.
Yeah.
And me being hard of hearing, I rely on that physical vibration. But even if you're not hard of hearing, you know when something's real or not because of that physical vibration. So if things start to have these physical vibrations into them, you're going to start sensing more reality in the way that you have already perceive it in everyday life. It's kind of weird. You don't know that speakers aren't real until you try something else that kind of helps embellish that sensation of realism, and then you go back to speakers, and then you instantly know something's missing. You instantly know something's missing. So that means that if we engage all of these sound experiences with this realism that we have, we can help suspend the disbelief of a game, of a movie, of a live performance, of a song, of even a pre-recorded what's called sporting game.
Yeah.
You can replay it and you can feel like you're there. You can feel the crack of the bat. You can feel the kick of a ball. You can feel the hit of the drums. You can feel these things, and not just as an effect.
Yep.
As a real sound reproduction as it was meant to be from the beginning of time.
So we're building the matrix. That's cool. No,
we're building the audible matrix.
The audible world, we're enabling it.
Yeah.
We're building
Enabling
the audio that actually enables things like a metaverse. Because at the fundamental core of it, right, to make something real, like we talked about, requires multiple senses.
That's right.
This is the first time a company has been able to pioneer and develop something that has a reliable way of production. And the key thing there is reliable. That's the main thing for the last 2 years. We've been working so hard in developing our patent pending technology to create something that is not just an effect
or a gimmick
or any of this thing, but something that is a reliable way that not just us, but others in the future can develop new experiences that right now we can't even imagine because we're just unlocking it for today.
That's crazy.
That is absolutely wild. But
it started 2 years ago. We came here, we pitched the idea, and now we brought the idea with us in a physical manifestation of it. That's a good feeling.
So definitely, if you're here at CES, you want to come check out this booth.
You gotta come check out this booth.
But if you have not, I hope this video will allow you to understand the experience that we have curated for individuals. And I hope you're going to be able to experience this at multiple seated venues throughout the next couple years, and also get access to our very first product, the Resin X. If you're a hardcore gamer or an audio engineer, it's a hell of a good time. Thank you for watching, and that's it for our CES 2022 experience.
We'll see what we got for next year.
We'll see.